Welcome to Can We Talk? I'm Derek.
And I'm Sonia. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 1. We are back. So it has been 4 months since we have been on hiatus, and it has been a crazy busy 4 months. We thought we were going to come back sooner, but we took in my mom and my dad. They both have Alzheimer's, and we have been running a nursing home in our house. With that said, it has required time, attention, patience, a systems, a communication, energy, finding correct assistance. And it took that long, guys, for us to actually stabilize enough to be able to come on camera and not look crazy. Because really, y'all really glad that we didn't come on sooner. Because we were looking whipped. Yeah, we were.
And the other thing is that we had to take some time to process the fact that Sonia's pregnant. And
you know what? One thing that God said he hates in Proverbs is a lying tongue. You need to take that back. Ask God for forgiveness.
She's not pregnant.
What would you say?
I want to get people's attention. They're like, we paused
like that.
That's
not a good thing to get attention about.
Well, it is. There's nothing like childbirth.
What?
It's nothing like pregnancy.
We have passed that season long past.
Stop having sex with me, then we won't have that concern.
So
look, it's
called birth control. Snips.
It's been 4 months. It's been a while. Sonia said we were busy, and so we're back, and we have a lot of things to go into about marriage. As you know, this is what we do. So the title I have selected for this episode is entitled, "I Said I Do Back Then, But Until When?" And that title has been inspired by a lot of controversy about B. Smith and her husband, Dan Gasby, who has selected to have his girlfriend help him with his wife, who has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. You want to tell them a little bit about B. Smith? And she lives in the house with them. So B. Smith, for those of you who don't know, she's a well-known restaurateur, business owner. She's a chef, and so
an author.
So she
public speaker.
Absolutely. So a very powerful woman that I've always admired. I think we went to a restaurant in D.C. years ago,
and I used to go to the one in New York, Manhattan, after school, where I was in grad school.
So
every Thursday.
Yeah. So we wanted to not have a controversial conversation about their marriage, but really talk about marriage itself and the significance of when things happen in the marriage, the decisions that we make. And we're talking about Christian marriages.
Yeah.
We don't know their religion. We don't know what their beliefs are, but we do know Christian marriages and what God says about how do we deal with things in our marriage till death do you part.
Well, I mean, we can start with just the basic vows. I remember the vows that Derek and I took, and I remember saying them. I remember wholeheartedly assessing whether I meant them, forsaking all others until death do us part. We actually said those vows. Yeah. And I had to think about, what did forsaking mean? So, I don't know if Dan and B. Smith said those vows to each other, but if they did, then that would cause me to question the sanctity of that vow.
Yeah, and they may have had a conversation whether they said this is what we're going to do if something happens to us. We don't know, but we do know that when the husband and wife says, "I do," and these are the vows, then the vow's a vow. But we want to take a second to show a quick clip of them together and talking about the journey that they have been going. This clip is a little bit older; it's not recent. But just take a few moments to take a look at this clip with B. Smith and Dan Gasby.
Is with her, and he is taking care of her. But by the same token, I find it very disrespectful that he is with his wife and disrespecting her by being with his girlfriend in their home.
It doesn't just go away.
It's a tough.
It's tough, but it's not the worst thing that can happen.
She used to.
And does she understand, Alex, who you are and the relationship that you and Dan have? Dan, have you tried to explain that to her?
No, I don't she is beyond that capability, clearly, and I think
even the sanctity of marriage, but I don't believe death do you part means that because you made a commitment, if the person is not there, that you should sit there and watch your life shrivel up. And that's why I am where I am today, taking care of B and having someone else in my life. I love my wife. I will be there till death do us part.
Welcome back. What did you think of the clip? I know that Derek and I have had several conversations about this, so we're going to give our own personal take on it. I'm going to talk about it from a woman, from a black woman, from a wife, and from a spiritual perspective, because I really do believe that there is the relativity of emotional energy. And I say this to Derek all the time, and I say this to my clients all the time. Wherever you spend your time is where you will see your fruit, is where it will produce whatever you're putting your time in. So God forbid that was me. And I am now mentally incapacitated from time to time, because as some of you know, Alzheimer's does not completely take your mental faculties at one time. It is a degenerative disease that deteriorates through time, which means that there are times where even my mom and dad are themselves, like we actually have conversations about past experiences that they remember. My mom and I have so many inside jokes that I can say right now and she'll laugh. So even though there's dementia and there's Alzheimer's, you know, there's still a cognitive awareness that is there. And so I had to speak for myself. So this is me. This isn't B. Smith. This isn't Dan. This is Derek and Sonia. I would say if I, God forbid, developed Alzheimer's and Derek found a woman, I don't care if she's black or white, but I just think it's even harder when the race is different. But in my house, I'm just saying, in my house that I worked so hard to pay for, and she's taking care of me, and then she's under the covers with my husband, sane or insane, mentally capacitated or incapacitated, I'm not gonna have it. I'm not gonna have it. I would feel so disrespected. Now, of course, she doesn't know that. You know, I don't think she does anyway. But I know for me, there is absolutely no conversation that would have allowed me to say to Derek that that was okay, because I know that Dan said that he and her had an agreement. I'm thinking that that agreement was more after I'm gone. You can do whatever you want to do after I'm gone. But if your energy is not toward me while I am sick, that means that I'm probably going to deteriorate faster. Now, I use a storyline that's fictional because it came from the movie The Notebook. But I love the premise of that movie, because in The Notebook, for those, I'm trying not to do spoiler alerts, but you need to go watch the movie. In The Notebook, and it's from a book. I think it came from a fiction book. So in that storyline, this man's wife contracts Alzheimer's, and he lives in the same facility that she is in, just waiting for her to remember him by reading their love story all day, every day. And that is the relativity of emotional energy. Whatever you put in, you get back out. Even if it's for 5 minutes, he's reading that storyline all day. He's reading the story to her that she wrote, because she knew she had Alzheimer's, and she said, remember to read this to me and I will come back to you. And every time he read it to her, she came back to him. Mm-hmm. Even if it was for 5 minutes. How the kids? How long have I been out? Mm-hmm. You know, how you doing? Dance with me. Mm-hmm. 5 minutes. That's the relativity of emotional energy. So here's my take. Give me that until I die, because that's what you vowed to do. B's not gone. She may be mentally incapacitated, but if her disease is I've seen her interview with the diseases she has. There's still traces of her there. Yeah. She's not gone. He could spend as much time with her as possible to rekindle those moments until she is fully gone. She's not fully gone.
With everything you're saying, in addition to what you're saying is that if a man doesn't have a strong understanding about marriage and a strong understanding about his vows and understanding who God is
and his role,
then he's going to make those decisions based on how he feels and not based on what vows were said 20, 30 years ago. But the bottom line is that's what we're saying. The bottom line is that when you're married and you make the vows and you have experiences in your marriage, then no one else should come into the marriage to support it emotionally, physically, mentally, or even spiritually. It's just Sonia and I, and so having that understanding. So it's not challenging for us because that's a no-brainer for us. As far as Sonia and I are concerned, is that, like Sonia said, if something happens to her, ain't nobody coming up in here.
No, because I'm gonna find my mind and smack okay.
And the vice versa, Sonia. If something
I'm
happens,
gonna find my mind.
If something happens to me, it's the same thing. And so, it's the level of commitment to the relationship. And I think, honestly, putting them aside for a second, just looking at our marriages, looking at the marriages that we see every day, and the marriages that when people come in dealing with some heavy stuff, even with the things that people come to us about, they still want to check out and get a girl on the side. They still want to check out and get a boy on the side. They still want to check out because it's still rough, and the vows still are the vows, whether someone has a disease such as Alzheimer's or dementia or whatever it is. There's no seriousness, and that's not the word I'm trying to. There's no depth into saying whatever happens, this is what we're going to do.
Well, I think your point is very valid as it relates to the role of the husband, and I can tell you this from experience, people, because I watched how my husband was before he understood his role, and I watched how he is now that he understands his role. It's a completely different man. And when God gave Adam and husbands responsibility, boundaries, and accountability, he really meant that. And people just get married to be together. People get married just for companionship. They don't get married to emulate the Godhead, to emulate Jesus Christ. So we speak about marriage from a spiritual perspective because we believe that God created it. Everyone can have their beliefs, but we are Bible-believing Christians. And we believe that God exists, that he created the earth, and on the earth he created human beings, and how he created them was with the man first, and he gave the man dominion. And then he saw that it wasn't good for him to be alone and created a woman completely different physiologically, emotionally, and mentally, so that she could be his helper and have things inside of her that he does not have. But I believe that if husbands that got married understanding their role, Dan and other husbands like him would make some different kind of decisions. I really do believe that. And I am living witness of it. I'm watching the fruit of my husband's role in our marriage. And I can actually affirm that because you all know in our first book, and I say our first book because the second one's about to come out, but in our first book, Unlocking the Mysteries of Marriage, Derek ran amok as a husband. I wasn't so great as a wife, but I mean, when he made the changes, I was able to feel secure, and then I was able to truly help him without attitude and resentment, grudges, and neck rolling. But he had to find God for himself. He had to become a man. A lot of you husbands have been emasculated, and your manhood has not been affirmed. So you're getting married thinking you're going to find it in your wife. You cannot find your masculinity in your wife. Okay, she's expecting you to come as a man. And that may not happen, but just know that you're not going to get that from your wife. You can only get your masculinity from another man. And so you get married to this woman because you don't want to be alone, or she pressured you, or it's more convenient, or y'all had a baby and now y'all have no choice. And then you're not even understanding your role as a husband. And then you wonder why the marriage isn't working. And I'm not going to get into the wives because we say yes, not understanding our role as a wife.
Well, I'll get into the wives. So look, you're not, and you getting on the men.
Well, I got into the wives. I was just speaking from a male perspective because our husband is the one that we're dealing with.
I got you. Get out the way so I can be a man. Just move out the way, because I think a lot of times women we're chasing this train, and the woman is on the caboose saying, hurry up and be a man. Hurry up and catch, hurry up. And it's like, ain't nobody teach me how to do this thing here. So I'm trying to do that and trying to find what my responsibility role is. But I have a wife who's pushing it to a point where you're not giving me breathing room to get it. And so I'm making a general statement, not to you, but in that process, I got it, move out the way so I can learn how to get it. Now, if I'm not learning, if I don't have men in my life, if I'm not going to grow from other men and being willing to be mentored and to be held accountable, then yeah.
It's hard for us to get out the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, but there are a lot of men like that.
Well, yeah.
So the wives can't get out the way, because if they get out the way, they're going to lose the house. They're going to lose the cars. Insurance is going to lapse. There ain't going to be no groceries in the house. So you got to say that with a fine tooth,
No, I said it the way I said it. But
not fine tooth comb. What else say? A grain of salt. You got to say that with a grain of salt.
I'm not going to say it with a grain of salt. I'm saying this is my point. This is my point. Hear my point.
The grain of salt is supporting you.
Hear my point.
But you can't tell somebody to get out of the way and then their husband runs amok of the house.
Hear my point. Here's my point. Get out of.
I'm scared of you.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you to be. Here's my point. I'm gonna stick to my point. I don't have to say it with a grain of salt, because I'm saying it because there are some women need to hear it like that.
No, I know. You're right.
So let me finish my point.
You're right.
Let me finish my point. This is a very specific statement that I'm making.
Okay.
Because if I don't make this specific statement, then there's a lot of.
They don't know which we talking about.
I'm talking to the women. They know who they are. That when a man is trying his best, get the hell out the way. Let the man do what he has to do. If he has mentors in his life, he's going to Bible study, he has all these things in his life, and you're still nyat. So. No,
I agree with that. I agree with you.
That was my point.
I agree with you on that.
That was my point. What I'm saying is that I'm saying that it's so important that there's a responsibility for both husband and wife. There's a responsibility. I need to know what my role and responsibility is as a husband. I need to know that. The wife needs to know what is her role and responsibility as a wife. Because no one taught me that.
I agree.
And no one taught you that. So when people get married, they winging it. And then when they get married for 20, 30 years and something happens, I'm just going to forget the vows. If a man understood his role and responsibility, that would not be in part of my breath.
So I agree. And I agree with Derek. I liken it to how you make a cake, right? I use this analogy all the time. You can make a cake the right way and it'll come out really nice and fluffy and moist and good. Or you can make it the wrong way. All kinds of different ingredients or different wrong amounts and the wrong timing of how you mix it in. All of that's related to making a cake. And I believe that marriage is the same way. You have ingredients, and a lot of people get married and the ingredients are all wrong, or they're in the wrong amounts and they're put in at the wrong time. And I mean, even if you have done that, just recognize that you've done that. If you made the babies before the marriage, okay, the cake is upside down. We get that. Everybody knows that. No judgment. People have oops. We just got fortunate. We ain't had no oops, but we could have. You know what I mean? So there's no judgment there. My issue is you don't say that is upside down. You act like we're still going to do it this way, right. Even though it's upside down. Right. Would you eat that cake that tastes like crap if somebody gave it to you? Or would you say that was not supposed to be an upside down cake? That was actually supposed to be a pound cake. Right. And it looks like crap. You would say this is not a pound cake. This is looking crazy. But we don't say that. See, and this is the problem that I'm having. It's like, just call a spade a spade. Yeah. Say, you know what? He moved into my house. I was supposed to move into his. Okay? I had the good credit. He was supposed to have good credit too. I paid all the bills. He was supposed to have some savings. just say something that tells you, okay, this is wrong.
Right.
And this is why we're not working. But don't be upside down. Don't throw the ingredients in any way you want and then expect that your marriage is going to be okay.
Right.
Because God designed marriage to be a certain way. If man has dominion and the woman is the helper, then you've got to make it conducive to support those two roles.
Right.
Like I told Derek, I said, I should have moved into your apartment. Derek had a nice apartment when we were dating. And we were building a house. And we moved into he moved into his aunt. I moved into my parents' apartment. At that time, they had an apartment in Maryland. And then we bought this house that Derek's name couldn't be on because his name was on his ex-wife's house and they hadn't refinanced. All this crazy backward stuff. So all the bills are in my name. Everything is in my name. And I'm thinking that he's going to feel like he's a man of the house. That's backwards. And some of y'all wives don't like to hear that because y'all are me. Y'all did me. Y'all did that. And y'all don't want to make no changes. You're comfortable with how things are, but your husband's looking crazy. And and people don't believe that this makes a difference. This is the crazy thing about it. I say this to the wives and they're like, how could changing the name of the deed and the title of the house make a big difference? Are you kidding me? A black woman who owns a house and her husband lives in it and he doesn't have any name on it is suicide.
And the thing about it, he ain't gonna say nothing because
it's marital suicide.
He's already been emasculated before he got married. He's not going to say anything because I got a good wife.
And I did that. See, I did that. I emasculated Derek then because I said, I'm getting a house with or without you. What? I can't even believe that was me 24 years ago. I actually said that. I'm going to get a house with or without you. What you going to do? What? See, that's what we do. And then we get married and Derek don't want to lose me. I'm good stuff, right? You don't want to lose me. So he's like, okay, babe, try that now.
Well, you saw an example of it 2 minutes ago. She's not going to keep on talking
you
like
were flexing.
That. I'm always flexing. Anyway, but so here's the point. We, as you can see, we're very...
Oh, gosh.
You know us. We're very passionate about marriage. And the reason why, here's why we're passionate. Because every day, at least 6 times a day in sessions, not counting the emails and the phone calls that we give counseling to. And we're passionate because we're watching the enemy going into these marriages and ripping them apart.
Yep, right under their nose.
We really don't have time for, you don't see us on Facebook a lot. You don't see us on Instagram because just to promote our stuff and support other people. But you don't see us in it because all day long we're fighting for marriages. We're fighting for marriages. And so when we come on and we see a issue that's worldwide between a wife named B. Smith and a husband named Dan Gasby, and we see that, we're very passionate about Satan is now it's a big conversation with Christian people. Yeah. Forget about those who are on the. We're talking about Christian people.
Yeah, it's dividing people.
It's dividing people and it's watering down marriages. And we just have to come on and say that Satan has a way of watering down marriages through other marriages that are in the media. Yeah. And so we want to just encourage you to go back to
God's plan.
The vows, and the commitment to husband and wife. Again, we're back and we coming out the gates just hot.
Well, we're going to have a lot of controversial topics this season because you all know who we are and it's time that we fight back. Yeah. We're just tired of watching it. And, we've been speaking about all the nice preventative ways to keep marriage going, but we're going to speak against the stuff that we think is destroying marriage. And we've been watching it first hand, up close and personal, and it's starting to bother us because it's so prevalent.
Right.
Forgive the passion, but we're going to be bringing it like that.
We want you to be able to fight for your marriage. Just fight for it. Yeah. And not give up. So we're asking you to just take a moment in your marriage and have a conversation. Have a conversation like Sonia said. All right, we did this thing backwards. And it's a really grown-up conversation to have. Yeah. Like, babe, we started out backwards. How can we reverse this thing and make another cake?
Yeah, because most of you really love your spouse, even when they've hurt you. You still really love them. I mean, there's some hurts that go to devastation places, and we get if you really can't recover because it caused infidelity or diseases and whatever. We get that, you know, but for the most part, the average couple really does love the other.
Right.
And you know, we don't want to talk about the people that are dehumanizing people and domestic violence. We know all of the stuff that you should be safe about, okay? We're talking about the average couple. There's no domestic violence. There's no passing down a whole bunch of diseases. You know, there's no orgies going on. You know, we're talking about a Christian husband and wife that just can't get along because their ingredients were put in the cake backwards. And just being able to call it what it was and say, I see how your role as husband was threatened.
Right.
I see how your role as wife was compromised. I did not come in giving you security. I did not come in giving you respect.
Right.
And just call it what it was. Call it what it is, you know? Start there. Because you can restore your roles. We're living proof of it.
That's right. You see how I restored this thing, huh? You see how I handled that? Put that lion back in her cage.
Oh, Jesus.
Because back in the day, I would have been, yeah, whatever. Look, so.
You still scared?
Scared of what? Last time I was scared, I was like 3 years old and I was in my diapers.
Stay focused.
Okay.
You were in your diapers at 3?
Yeah. That's
Pee-pee boy.
Pee-pee boy. Sticky boy. Pee-pee boy. Look,
You're stupid.
So
You're
look,
probably so cute at 3.
I was.
Aww.
Yes, so look, we're back. Subscribe to the channel.
Yes, please.
Subscribe to our channel.
Please share.
Share.
Yes, share with others.
Comments. You know, we want to hear your comments. And let me just say this: we don't want to hear no foolish comments. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have said that. But seriously, we're not going to have a discussion about Dan Gasby and B. Smith. That wasn't the purpose of this conversation.
Right. We just kind of gave that as a point of reference.
Yeah,
they can do whatever they want to do. They're grown.
They're grown
but
folks.
we have to reframe everything into the context
Right.
of Christian marriage, and
Right.
that's where we're coming from.
Right.
And here's the other thing. The title was, I said I do back then, but until when? Our belief is until death do you part. I just had to answer that.
Right.
Until when?
Until
death do you part. I'm going to give everything I can to my husband till death do us part. And I hope he does the same. I believe that if you go into marriage with that commitment, it will give back to you.
Right. So thank you for watching. Again, subscribe to our channel,
Yes.
share it, like it, let other people know. For those of you who don't know, we do marriage counseling.
Yes, we
Give
do.
us a call. Check our website, www.marriageministers.org. Send us an email, Gmail, The Marriage Ministers, Instagram, Facebook.
And marriage is eternal.
Marriage is eternal.
So now that you know what you're going to do
with
with it. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. Take good care of yourselves.